That's why it's easier Mr. Shep.
What's going on?
I haven't spoken to you today. It's good to see you.
Yes.
How's your day?
Busy.
Yeah, I think that's everybody. If you're here right now, it's been a busy day. You getting all your stuff accomplished?
Always.
I know you do. You know, every press in the world will bug you by accounts. I already know that.
Take it out.
I've been good to you. I've been all good.
Everybody's out. Put it like that.
It's all 17. And I'm just wrong with it. Credit for that. So
I call to order the July 11th work session meeting. First, we're gonna go over the agenda for the July 18th meeting. We're gonna call to order. We're gonna go over Macomb District Vision and Mission Statement. We're gonna have 30 seconds of silence. The adoption of minutes. The adoption of the agenda, review of minutes. We're gonna have a presentation of construction projects by Ms. Nash. Review and approval of financial statements. Any questions? Review and approval of claims docket. Any discussions? And the report and presentation of the business of the superintendent.
We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Accelerate Learning. Any questions, concerns?
Accelerated learning?
Yes, sir.
I mean, how do we do, wait.
First one.
I need to go back.
Okay.
Go back.
Yes, sure.
Thought we were gonna do the mission statement first. On the claims docket,
Yes, sir.
this is just for clarity. There is a, on the fund 2598, the ESER, there's an amount for the HVAC. Can you give me some clarity on that?
So, Ewan Kessler is the one that's doing the project for the HVAC that we went into, I want to say back in 21-22 school year. And Ewan Kessler was the one that won the construction bid, contract bid, basically with Jeff Crabtree. Crabtree is our architect, Ewan Kessler is our contractor. So this is him billing us for the work that has already been completed thus far.
So this is work that's been done in multiple buildings in the district?
That is correct.
For air conditioning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it kind of stuck out for it to be, what, $1 million and something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's coming from the ESER?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank Again, we'll be asking the board for approval of agreement to accelerate learning. Questions, concerns?
Question on that one is what grades would, I know this is for STEM training,
Yeah, this is our science STEM scope.
STEM codes,
Yes,
scope.
sir. And so that would actually be for elementary and secondary schools.
Elementary and secondary.
Yes.
So will it be, how will it be implemented? I mean, is this contract servicing scholars or is it servicing
Well, they'll be
professional development?
professional development. They'll be coming in, I think on the 25th, 26th, they'll be coming in to provide some training for the teachers in July.
Okay, but it says, so they'll only be here for 2 days.
Yes, sir.
So it's 2,500 a day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is gonna be for the junior high.
It's going to be for elementary and junior high because we have fifth grade science, and we also have 8th grade science, which are those testing areas. And this STEM scope is teaching them how to use the science curriculum pieces. We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement, Barclays Security, Summit Cafeteria. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement, Call to Teach, Education, Consulting, Consultation Services. Questions, concerns?
Question on that one would be, this one is $800 a day, right?
Yes, sir.
And in terms, will it serve both the scholars and professional development, or just professional development?
From my understanding, this would be professional development for new teachers.
It's only for the new teachers.
From my understanding, it would be professional development for our new teachers.
Okay, so we'll have them for 10 days?
Yes.
Would there be new teachers across the district?
Across the district, K-12.
So, I mean, the days are going to be, I guess what I'm asking you is, are the days going to be consecutive or are they going to be sporadic?
Those days can be sporadic throughout the duration of the contract. We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement CGJ Enterprises DBA Southern Fire. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Climbing Higher Heights LLC. Any questions, concerns?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This is, I understand, this is a contract for $38,000.
Yes, sir.
And it's one that's designed for, I guess, the social studies curriculum.
Correct.
But it was not clear as to what particular area of the social studies that it's going to address. And it also, I see that it indicates that it's concentrated, it's going to be highly concentrated on the alignment of the social studies curriculum to make sure that the Mississippi CCR standards are a part of the curriculum.
Yes, sir.
For which I was told earlier that our curriculum had already been updated with the CCR standards.
Yes. So this is
what is this? I mean,
this is a consultant who will be coming in, helping us with U.S. history and our social studies pieces, making sure that it is aligned to CCR standards. This individual is coming in, help teachers, make sure those standards are aligned. And so just because they're aligned, it doesn't necessarily mean that the teachers know how to teach that content. And this person will come in to help our teachers actually develop high quality lessons so that our students can achieve at the highest possible level. And also, at times, this person also will probably work in some of our schools.
I guess my concern is this, is that some things that we are saying that in these contracts that we are contracting these people to come in to do, is that we have a leadership piece here in the district that also are responsible, if I'm not mistaken, for making sure that certain things are aligned.
And they
Right?
Yes.
So I guess my biggest concern is not duplicating what's supposed to already be in place.
And these are not duplication of services.
Okay. And that we are paying them, I understand, I forget the amount of,
This contract is for X number of days, and just because the contract, I'm just saying for example, the contract may say 100 days. We may not necessarily use all those 100 days. So, but the contract lets us know that we can enter into an agreement with them not to exceed that amount and not to exceed this amount of days.
well, the other thing about that is I think that this is the one that's also that had an additional quote.
I think for all of our contracts, Ms. McSwain, definitely if it's being paid for federal funds, we have to have multiple quotes.
Okay, when you say multiple quotes, are you saying that, because I took it as if the additional second quote was additional services.
It is, in this
If
we have two proposals. We have proposal 1 and proposal 2.
right,
Yes.
so which proposal are we accepting?
We're accepting
One of all?
both of these proposals.
Just need to know,
Yeah, they all
feel
do.
comfortable with signing off on it.
Both of them is on the 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement, GDA speakers, questions, concerns.
My question on that one is when are there, will this be the new school year speaker?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because it wasn't clear in it. Right, because it was saying in the contract that we would be paying them $3,000 per day. So they only be here for 1 day, right?
I'm not, if I'll have to look at this, I don't know how many days are in there.
Okay, well, it said here, it said the consultant shall be paid a total up to $3,000. That's what's confusing me. Consultant shall be paid a total of up to $3,000.
Well, that means that, yes, sir.
Let me finish it. A total up to $3,000 for pay as follows: $3,000 per day shall be due payable upon completion.
If Ms. McSwain submitted this, so that would have to be $3,000 for 1 day,
Okay.
if the contract reads that way.
Yeah, that's the way it reads.
That second sentence under section 2 can be removed.
Yes.
And I think that would,
Yeah, that would-
yes,
you got- you
that
understand
would
what I'm
take care
saying?
of the confusion, yes.
Because see, they can double back on us and say that we. But if this is the guest speaker for that opening, I understand.
We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Harbor Educational Consultants, questions, concerns.
The Hopper program says that we're paying them 100 days, we're contracting them for 100 days
Yes, sir.
at $12.50 per day,
Yes, sir.
totaling $125,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. My question is this, is that it focuses, it's saying it's basically focusing their services on professional development for teachers and staff and district administration. technical assistance in developing the curriculum. Can you, because we're saying one thing in the summary of the services that they're providing, which will also include travel expenses and resources and materials.
Yes, sir.
So these consultants will come into the district,
Yes, sir.
and we got to pay for their travel expenses and their resources that they provide,
That's in the contract, yes, sir.
and whatever materials that they provide
Yes, sir.
to train our staff.
They provide high dosage treatment, yes. And
Is this the first year that we were using?
no, it's not the first year that we're using. We've used them last year, and we have used this consultant multiple times. And one of the reasons that you will probably see many days is that as of right now, we're still trying to ensure that we have mathematics teachers at one of our schools. And at this point, we're not fully staffed with mathematics teachers at Denver. And so this high dosage tutoring that the Harper consultant will be providing will also be at that school.
Okay. I guess what I'm caught up on is the cost of it. Is this the determinant amount that will be expended to them, or is it just limited to?
It's limited to, we will pay them no more than $125,000? We'll pay them no more than $125,000. So if they don't use all of the 100 days, we won't pay them for the 100 days.
Okay, but they'll be servicing more than one school.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And also, I see that it has a component in it that has basically all virtual scheduled services.
Well, that would be a combination of some virtual pieces and some on-site pieces. Because they can work with teachers, if they're not here, they can work with teachers virtually.
Okay, I'm just.
So my question will be, if they're working virtual, would that $1,250 be reduced? Because that means they're not traveling? Because the price say includes all travel.
If they're not traveling, then we will not pay them for travel if they're not traveling.
You just still pay them for their
We'll just pay them for
service.
the services, which will be that daily rate.
I just, will the resources, okay, you said you used them before, right?
We used them before. As a matter of fact, we used them last year. And this is multiple consultants. So Harvard Education Group, this person can send multiple consultants to the school district. A mathematics consultant, an ELA consultant.
Okay, so when we say materials and resources, do they allow the district to maintain the resources in the district when they leave?
Whatever they provide us will be ours.
And this is going to be done throughout the school year.
Yes, sir.
So who manages that?
Every day they come in, they sign in. There is, they also provide a report of when they come, what they provide. Mr. Lampkin has a binder. Every consultant who comes, they sign in the binder, they sign in and out of the binder. So Mr. Lampkin, the building principal, and Ms. McSwain will be responsible for making sure that those individuals get to where they need to do and do what they're supposed to do.
See, sometimes, I guess I'm hung up. I'm hung up on, we're getting these contracts in with these consultants.
Yes, sir.
Oftentimes, if you have too many consultants coming in, and I know some of them are coming in for different reasons, but sometimes you defeat your purpose because your teachers, especially if it's not a teacher who knows how to deal with consultants, oftentimes it interferes with their performance because they're so much oftentimes concentrated on trying to do what they feel that is necessary to make the consultant satisfied with their performance rather than, and I know how it is when you got somebody coming in your classroom standing on you, you get.
Well, these consultants that we are getting approved, most of them have worked with us before, and they have a great working relationship with most of our teachers. They have a great working relationship with the teachers. They have a great working relationship with the staff.
That's what my main concern, because, and also the other, and then add a couple more, that it appears that there's some duplication of services here. And I don't understand why are we spending the dollars where we're spending them for the same thing?
If we have multiple math consultants, some of these math consultants, for instance, you will see new alphabet. This consultant will be working at a high school for mathematics and possibly then in junior high school with algebra. When you look at the influential education group, this person will specifically be working with Denver Junior High School on mathematics. And so again, right now, we are still trying to find mathematics teachers for Denver. And so these consultants will also help us provide that service as well in the event that we cannot find a teacher. So the high dosage tutoring that you see in the Harvard Education Group, they will come in and they will actually help us provide this education for our scholars if we cannot find a teacher.
I think my question and concern is, who facilitate when they will come? Because see, I heard you say they show up.
No, they have a schedule of days that they're gonna come in.
Okay.
So the principal knows specifically the days that they're gonna come in. So it may be that, I'm just using this for an example, the influential group may say that I'm coming in 3 days this week. The building principal will know they're coming Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So the consultants just don't show up. There is a schedule of days that they're coming. The principal knows those days that they're coming. The curriculum director will know the days that they're coming. When they come, they sign in, they sign out. There is a binder that we keep, and they're in those buildings. So they just don't show up one day and no one knows they're here. We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement with Heartland School Solutions. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Influential Education. Question and concern?
This is one that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, sir.
But according to the contract, they're specifically dealing with the 7th and 8th grade.
Yes, sir.
Man, right?
Yes, sir.
So it says that we'll be paying them $1,200 per day.
Yes, sir.
Is this our first year using it?
This is the first year that this consultant is going on his own, but this consultant has worked with us before with another group. So this consultant has been in our school district at least for the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay. But it also says that, that he's going to, well, whomever will provide professional development, coaching, and instructional services.
Yes, sir.
So how would that be, do you have an idea how he's going to do the teacher support? Or will he be working with scholars?
This consultant will do both. This consultant has also worked with scholars, and this consultant has also worked with teachers. So if a consultant needs to work with scholars, they will arrange that with the building principal, and they can specifically get in and get their hands dirty and work with scholars. But they also provide the professional development for the teacher who need it, because we may have some teachers, we do have some teachers who need that piece, and the consultant can provide that coaching for that teacher.
And we're contracting them for 30 days. It's 30.
Yes.
According to this, 30.
All right. No further questions regarding that. We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Kids First Education LLC. Questions, concerns?
That particular one, this is one that I was mentioning earlier about the curriculum alignment. And a big piece of it is dealing with aligning the curriculum to the Mississippi standards, and also the teaching exit standards, as well as the college and career readiness standards. But it says that it's mainly concerned with the science curriculum.
Yes, sir.
So the other one that we had, it dealt with the science curriculum as well, right?
Well, STEM scope is teaching the teachers how to utilize the products from STEM scope. So there's an online component to our science curriculum, the STEM scope piece. And when these individuals come in these days for the accelerate learning, they will be showing our teachers how they utilize the STEM scope pieces in science. And the Kids First, this will be a consultant who will be coming in for those days, specifically working with our elementary and junior high school science teachers regarding the science curriculum.
Okay, so again, this is what I'm saying that it has me pondering on this is when I studied this, it basically a lot of these services that they're saying that they're going to provide to us are services that are things that we should be having in place done here locally from our curriculum department. I can see them reviewing our aligned curriculum to make sure that they're that it's in order and that it's current to what is required as far as the state is concerned, and even with district objectives or aligned instructions, intentions. But I guess and I do know that it involves the having visible learning strategies. I appreciate that part in it, that they will, because you really need to go through that to understand the effectiveness of it, of those strategies. But what I'm saying here is that some things that we should have in place locally that we don't have to pay consultants to come in and do.
We do have,
You can think about it later, I'm just sharing it, that's just a method of thought, you don't have to.
yes, sir, yes,
But
sir.
I'm just, because we're seeing that we want to pay these people $44,000. And I guess they will designate how many days, and but at $14.75 per day. So when they come in at $14.75 per day, they need to know, or we need to know exactly what are they going to be doing, or what are they going to specifically concentrate on while they're in the district. I mean, they can give me a line of scope of services, is which they have identified here, but they have not. I mean, it doesn't tell me, because see, that can just be read. Just, you know, and it just, there again, then you look at, are they duplicating services?
What I would say is that they're not duplicating services, because the two science pieces that we're getting approved, the STEM scope piece is specifically dealing with, okay, how do we take the STEM scope material and utilize that material in the classroom? And Kids First will actually be a consultant, a hands-on consultant that's coming in for whatever the X number of days, specifically working with our teachers regarding these standards and how do you put these things in place.
Are we concentrating just on the testing grades, or what grade? I know the STEM is more of a high order thinking teaching strategy, but with this other one, is it?
This science consultant will be at 3 schools. The science consultant will be at Higgins, Summit, and then the junior high school. We'll be working between 3 schools. The Kids First science consultant will work between those 3 schools. Specifically because at Higgins, we're testing 5th grade science. At Summit, we're testing 5th grade science. And at Denton, we're testing 8th grade science. But that person is not just working with 8th grade science teacher, that person is also working with a 7th grade science teacher.
One of my concerns, if we're on the topic of science, if the community says that our students aren't doing science experiments and we're paying consultants to help us with that, how do I, as a board member, answer that the community's question as to whether or not our students are doing science experiments?
There are, with the STEM scope piece, there are specifically pieces in there where students do science experiments. So with the STEM scope piece, that STEM scope piece, there is a whole piece of curriculum that allows them to do hands-on stuff, hands-on projects with the science curriculum. And whenever that is being implemented, if any board member would like to come in and see how they're utilizing, or any community member would like to come in and see how they're utilizing those STEM scopes pieces, then we will welcome that opportunity.
But that is a part of what the consultants are helping us with?
Yes, ma'am.
Is actually implementing hands-on activities?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But I thought basically, also with the STEM, I tell us that we basically think of the mixture of the science, technology, and math.
Yes, sir. Science, technology, and mathematics.
And engineering.
Yes, sir.
Right? Which would be somewhat different than the other side of what she's talking about, as far as when you're in the regular science classroom, having access to the science labs and making sure that the science labs are being used appropriately like they should be. Because when students can go with the science teacher and do the general stuff that we did when we were in science class. And that is use the labs.
I think
that's what you're saying.
That is one of the things that's been put before us, is that our students aren't actually using science hands-on activities. And so I understand what we're saying here as far as the consultants that we have before us. It's a separate type of science. Okay. STEM. Okay.
And that's just what it's called STEM scope. That is what the piece of the science is called. Okay, so they will be focusing on all of those pieces, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, even when they do those projects.
Yeah, in the STEM class. But in the basic science, it's a totally different environment. You are in the basic science classroom where you have the science lab as a supplement to the science lesson.
If no further questions, we'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Mississippi Interactive LLC, Tyler Technologies. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Mu Alpha Theta Consulting LLC. Questions, concerns?
This is the one that you said that also will be working with command.
Your high school and drop down to Denver Junior High School for algebra.
Okay. Question I also have with this particular consulting company is that they indicate that there is a module they concentrate with in the instructional management piece of that deals with the increase of ACT initiatives. So, and I see that they also say that they provide the resources. So are the resources that they provide for this provided for the teachers, or are they provided for scholars?
That could be multiple pieces. That could be resources that they provide for the teacher and resources that they provide for the scholar. Because those resources that they provide may be utilized by the scholar. Or the resources that they provide to the teacher, that could be a teacher resource that they use. So we could go either way.
Another reason why I'm asking that question is because as board members, we often get questioned on what is the school providing for my child to help them pass or get a higher score on the ACT, and particularly in math. And that's doing the ACT training myself. I constantly get those questions as to what is the school providing. So I want to be very clear on what I'm sharing with them when I answer that question.
We also have Gear Up is also working with definitely with the high school, specifically on some ACT pieces through Jumpstone. So I know that Gear Up is working with high school students regarding increasing the ACT scores as well.
One of the questions that I have, because I know that we've used Mu Alpha Theta before.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know about our previous people that we had questions about, but anyway, specifically for me, I think it would be helpful when we have what I call repeat performers. And there's a proposal that we're supposed to take under consideration. For me, it would be helpful if I had data that indicates how they helped us before. You know, I'm one, I love being able to say, oh yes, it was wonderful that we approved of a company that we've done business with previously. And here's why. I can't say that. You know, I have things put before me and I have no indicator that says, yes, they're actually helping us, because 20% of our students who were previously not doing well, we've improved over the years. Even though the students change, we should have some data that's put before us that says, yes, we certainly are going to want to continue doing business with that particular company.
Well, just as you just stated here, it says in their contract that
20%.
additionally, our process will include and facilitate the implementation of differentiated instruction, focusing on achieving high performance goals set by your school. Now that tells me that in order for you to provide that, then there has to be results on the other end. And those results should be made available to us as to say whether they have grown, they have been able to ascertain growth in student achievement or decline. I also see where they say here that PD workbook, now I'm not sure if the PD workbooks are 150 copies are they for the students
I couldn't answer that. I have to
or
ask
for the
Mr.
teachers.
Wayne and Mr. Martinez. If
Okay,
it's 150, it would have to be for students and not teachers.
right. So, and then materials just say that they are providing the driven financial literacy curriculum, so they'll be teaching the financial literacy curriculum, which is much needed. And I'm assuming that this is saying they will be in the district for 20 days. Or, no, they're saying 20 days conducted hybrid, so that may be virtual, as well as in addition to their services in the district.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's not just this company, but any, just stressing the fact that any company that's a repeat performer for us, we need to have, we should seek to have data that indicates why we're approving of them again.
I could make this a suggestion, is that if they're a repeat vendor, that when they submit their new proposal, they need to submit their previous performance. That way, we know we'll have it. Just make that amount of rule. You think?
I agree.
That's the board wishes. We have data that
And that would satisfy their concern, that
Right.
show us what you did while you were here.
that's the board's wishes. That's
But we
not a
agreed, we had agreed at the retreat that moving forward, that any companies that dealt business with us in the past, moving forward, that we will be provided the information. I thought that we had agreed.
We
on.
discussed it.
But on your part, Dr. Birch, you're saying that it's not anything that the district itself should be labored with. The company should be able to
The company,
provide.
the district should be labeled with it, but
Yes.
the district responsibility should be, is to get it from them, make
Right.
sure it's retrieved from them in order to, when they present their next proposal.
We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement National Center on Education and Economy. Questions, concerns?
You know I have a question now.
Yes, sir.
My question on that one is, how long have we been in partnership with them?
This may be is this our second? This may be our second year with, specifically with this project.
Okay.
This may be our second year specifically with this project.
Okay, so you're asking the board for $174,000, even though it's coming out of federal programs, out of the it's I'm asking. Do you remember which funds is this?
I do not.
This is, let's see.
What's the name of it again?
This is NC, National Center of Education and Economy.
If I'm not mistaken, that's gonna be, I wanna say it's in the title funds that she's using that with.
Tyler? Okay. Now, tell me, Dr. Ellis, I'm just asking for clarity so I can make sure that I know why we're spending this
Yes, sir.
$174,000.
Yes, sir.
That when I read the program, it mainly concerns professional development and support for leadership and district administration and adaptive development structures and processes to refine implementation, your implementation plans.
Yes, sir.
And what I equated that to was the fact that, I keep saying, And I've been seeing, and I keep seeing some duplication of some things. And I also see some things that we're supposed to be doing locally as leaders that we should be taking care of prior to having these people to come in. If they come in, they should only give us a second opinion, be able to give us a second opinion on some things that we should already have in place. Now, I said that to say this. When I studied this program, it familiarized me, or it guided me back to Transcend.
They're two separate proposals.
They're two separate proposals. However, some of the same things that they're saying here, if I'm not mistaken, if it's not this one, it's one of the other ones that said that they are going to be working with Transcend and developing the strategic the learning systems.
What NC is doing, NC is in the process of helping us to develop and implement a career ladder.
Yeah, the career ladder.
Right, so their boots on the ground to help us begin to think differently, to shift systems so that we can begin to get this career system, get this career ladder system in place. This school year we will be piloting portions of this career ladder. A portion of this career ladder will be available district-wide, and they're going to be helping us do that. That is what this proposal is doing. There are multiple sessions and meetings that we have with them regarding how we begin to put this career ladder in place. And so this is the first year we piloted a portion of this career ladder last year with mentor teachers. But they're helping us begin to put the systematic pieces in place so that the career ladder works. Helping us think differently on how we can repurpose our resources to make sure that we can free up time so that our new teachers, those teachers that are new to the teaching profession, they are assigned a mentor. That mentor is assigned to them, and that teacher doesn't have a full teaching load, so that mentor can begin to work with that teacher on making sure that teacher is getting that new teacher is getting everything that they need in order to be successful in the classroom. So what that means is that means rethinking how we even schedule so that we can actually have the time to free those teachers up so that they can have a reduced teaching load and the mentors can help them. So we're also looking at how do we categorize our teachers, just say from a level 1 to a level 4. And how can these level 4 teachers begin to provide not only support for those mentor teachers, but support for those schools? How do we rethink utilizing our current coaches to make sure that they can go in and provide some additional support for those teachers who may need it, and allowing coaches, interventionists, and all these people to actually teach a class so that we can begin to free up the time so that the mentor and the we'll call it a level 1 teacher can have that time to work together, and that there is a reduced teaching load for that level 1 teacher. And so, and I'll be honest, this is not something that we can do on our own. We have to have outside people come in and help us rethink, reshift, because we're trying to also do these things but we have a system already in place that we have to maintain. So we have to have these individuals come in to really begin to help us rethink and put these systems in place, and sometime operate a dual system, because you can't just abandon the old system and put the new system in place. You have to have both of these systems working together at the same time, in hopes that at some point the new system anyway will replace that old system, and now we don't have dual systems in place, but there has to be a dual system in place currently, because we can't abandon everything and decide to do all of this because teaching learning still must occur. So that is what ENC is helping us do with the career ladder. And all they're doing is specifically focusing on the career ladder piece.
But over here, I think it's, what was it, 36,000 that we were going to pay for the consultants to come in to work with the new teacher.
Yes.
Is that,
Yes.
you see what I'm saying when I say duplicate?
And then it's transcend,
And then transcend.
transcend proposals almost mirror to this.
This,
Right.
okay. The consultants these are not the same services. When we look at the career ladder, they're not coming in providing professional development for teachers. They're not providing any professional development for teachers regarding the content. What they're doing is that they're trying to come in to help us systematize how we can put a career ladder in place so that our most vulnerable teachers that are coming in, that they are actually paired with a mentor, not a consultant, but a mentor teacher who can assist them. The consultant is going to, and again, we have to have a dual system in place in order to begin to put these things in place. And as I said earlier, I don't mean to be redundant, in hopes that at some point we can abandon one of these systems, but we just can't abandon everything and say that we're going to go full speed ahead with this, because the successes that we've had, we still need to try to maintain those successes in addition to putting these new systematic pieces in place. So trust me, but these services are not being duplicated, because they're totally different. They're totally different components. They're not being duplicated. When we look at Transcend is working with us specifically on implementing some of those pieces in our strategic plan, problem-based learning. They're specifically going to be focusing on helping us implement the problem-based learning piece. So all of these pieces are not the same components. All of them are related to education, all of them are helping teachers, but they're not. There's not a duplication of services.
I just want you to understand. Okay. Sir.
I'm not dismissing your concern.
I just want you to see how it can appear.
Right, and that's why I'm trying to do the best I can in explaining to you that they're not duplication of services. And I understand what I'm trying to do is that I'm hearing your concern and I'm trying to address the concern.
And I just have one question as well, because I'm understanding your concern, Dr. Burks, and sometimes when I'm reading, as you read and fine-tuning my understanding, sometimes it's actually confusing for me, because if we look at what they're calling their SDA logic model. It says here, the goal, Macomb will increase teacher retention, job satisfaction, teacher quality, and will facilitate upward movement of educators on the career ladder. This work connects to the output from the Macomb School District that we're trying to solve. Problem, it says, what are we tackling? And it says here, Macomb has high teacher turnover and a high percentage of inexperienced teachers. Professional learning is designed by district schools and is not currently led by teachers. And I'm trying to understand, when we look at other proposals that are before us, how is that possible that the help that's needed isn't teacher-led? That we have to pay someone to come in to help us with that. And so I'm just trying to understand how put the puzzle pieces together for it not being a duplication of what's out there.
The career ladder is we still have teachers in our school district who we need to provide them with the capacity that they need to deliver high quality instruction. Our consultants are helping us do that.
Okay.
When we look at the career ladder is saying that how can we utilize our own people and not consultants to do that? And so the career ladder is saying that what teachers you currently have who can serve as mentors, not all of our teachers could serve as mentors.
Correct.
Because our teachers don't have that capacity. The consultants, the reason I say we have dual systems, the consultants are actually in the process of helping our teachers develop that capacity so that they can grow beyond a level 1 teacher and possibly become a level 4 teacher. But the career ladder is saying that, okay, with your current staff, not consultants, with your current staff, what is the capacity of your current staff to begin to provide support and professional learning to the people in your building? Not utilizing outside consultants, but utilizing the current staff. And our goal is to develop all of our staff so that at some point we don't have consultants, but our staff has developed the capacity that they need. And now we have the capacity in our school district to provide everything that we need so that we don't have to use consultants. That is the ultimate goal. So we don't want to have consultants in our district forever. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to build the capacity of the people that we have so that once we develop the capacity of the people that we have, when we look at what ENCE is proposing with the career ladder, now we have more teachers who have the capacity to help teachers in the building that this is our current staff, this is not outside staff.
And with the goal of retaining teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
So that it's not an ongoing issue of bringing a consultant in.
Correct. And with the career ladder's focus is specifically on how can we keep our teachers in the classroom or closest to the student without teachers thinking that they have to get out of teaching in order to be compensated or in order to have release time. So even the career ladder is providing some release time for the mentor to be freed up to actually work with a teacher who maybe needs some help, and this is not a consultant working with them, but this is one of our high quality teachers who has the capacity to do this. And what we want is that we want all of our teachers to at some point have that capacity so that we can do this in-house with our career ladder.
So you also, out of that, you should also be able to establish well-constructed and well-versed PLCs
We should be able to.
and maintain those PLCs.
We should be able to.
And if those are maintained, then we won't have to have all these consultants coming in.
Right.
And
But
what,
we have to be careful about how we, especially with the new teachers, and this may be a little off the record, but with our new teachers, and the concern for retention is that we need to also be mindful of how we induct them into the way of teaching. Oftentimes, I've had these bad experiences where new teachers come in and then they are assigned some of the worst behavior of students and have no constructive mentorship, and it causes them to say, hey, this is not for me. And that's why we have several of the new teachers, they'll be leaving. So I just hope that, that with these initiatives that we're having in place here, that they are very, considerate of that fact. That also, that's a part of that mentorship, and that's a part of that working with those new teachers.
if there are no further questions, we ask the board for approval of agreement Scott Video and Photography LLC. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Smart Sense by DIGI. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Timco Incorporated. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement temp staff. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Towerson Smet. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of agreement Web Automotive Group. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval of policy revisions, first viewing and waive second viewing. Any questions, concerns?
Worse.
Mr. Brown will be able to help us out.
Can you tell me, Mr. Brown? Yes, sir. What did we change? Is there anything that we changed? I was trying to, when I read through this, did we have changes on the absent, the days allotted for?
No, sir, not on the allotted days. If you go to, if you're on the actual document, you go to the second page, under B, what's bolded is what was added, and what is struck out was taken out, which it's saying that employees that are not licensed or teacher assistants, they will get their sick days. The first month, they will get one, and then the remainder of the prorated sick leave balance allowable for the current school year will be credited after the first 90 days of continuous employment with Macomb School District. So what will happen is, the first month, they will get one. The second month, they will get their second day. The third month, they will get their third day of sick leave. And then after they've completed 3 months or 90 days, they will get the rest of their allotment.
Which is what?
Which would be, I believe, help me out, Mr. Shell, to make sure I'm correct, 8 and 2, or 7 and 2, or 8 and 2. So that's just a change because it was very labor intensive to do it 1 month at a time, the whole year. So after 90 days, finance is going to release their remaining balance. State statute requires that teachers and assistant teachers get theirs at the beginning of the year. So that's the difference there. It also we have run into a problem in the past where an employee that wasn't a teacher assistant or a certified teacher may be given all their allotment, and in that first month take all that allotment, and it ends up costing the district money if that person quits, because they're annualized at that time, or at this time they're annualized, so they could take all of their days and then it costs the district money. So this way, they're given the days as they work, and then over 90 days, they receive the rest of it.
Okay. If that's the situation, then how is this going to be communicated?
This will be sent out for all. Now, if it's a returning employee, this is only for new employees. If it's a returning employee, when they come back in August, they will get their allotment of days. So the new employees that are coming in August during their new employee orientation, we tell them if you're not a teacher assistant or if you're not a licensed person, your days are allotted one per month until you've gone 90 days. This will also be distributed to everyone.
Okay. So when they come in and when you do that orientation, do they sign off on
Do they sign off on? Yes, sir.
that they understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When I do orientation or my trainings, I make sure everyone signs off, and I'm explicit, especially in things that change. You know, because if someone may have worked here before and they come back, and it was one way and now it's changed, I try to make sure that those changes are explicitly explained, especially with time and days, and because you want to treat people fairly. You don't want them to miss days and think they're going to be paid for them if they're in fact not going to.
Yeah, you have that, and I'm asking that question because of recent experiences with people asking, and I tell them, you need to go to see that brown man. I was the one who makes policy. You know,
Yes.
You got what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And, you know, I typically don't make policy.
But, you know,
yes, sir.
But what I'm saying is, you know, they oftentimes, you know, the adults can be sometimes like the kids. They can hear what they want to hear.
Yes, sir. And we do, we try to be explicit when it comes to leave and FMLA and sick days and all that, because it can be confusing. So we do, at the beginning of the year, we will do FMLA training at the building level. But it's not only with our teachers, it's with our records clerks who have to keep up with those days. And it's with our administrators. Hey, if someone has missed 3 or 4 days, we need to know, so because it kicks in all of those FMLA and all of those policies.
Well, we got issues that are going on currently with, you know, where people are either, they were thinking that they were going to be able to be paid throughout summer and whatever, they supposedly have used up their days because of the way it was set up or was not set up, and that's what a lot of I've been confronted about, and I try to handle the best I can, and that's why I tell them to come see you.
Yes.
You know, because and it was kind of difficult for me to understand how it happened, but you know, as I've told you all before, these assistants and these non-classified, they have to buy the same groceries that we buy.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we have to be considerate of them. You know, they have a livelihood to maintain. So it's basic. It's our responsibility to try to be as clear as possible, so everybody can be on the same wavelength.
Yes, sir.
We'll be asking the board for approval of 2023-2024 employee handbook, first reading and waive second reading. Questions, concerns?
I got a couple of questions. We making a athletic director a supplement. Should we change the chart to reflect who they report to? Because we discussed that.
I don't think that just because the athletic director is getting supplemented, any of that will change. So I thought we agreed that we were gonna keep it like that for this current school year. And if we needed to make any changes, we'll make those changes for the next school year. We talked about that when we talked about the organizational chart. That was my understanding.
Yeah, but the reason why we, and stop me if I'm wrong, we agreed to that was because we wasn't gonna separate the two, but now that it's being separated, we just need to make sure that whoever that person is and the principal be on the same page.
I have that covered.
All right.
I have that covered.
So my next question will be, in the handbook, we have all the responsibilities of a teacher or employee, a cafeteria worker. But what I don't see in the handbook is any responsibilities or accountabilities for the administrators in the building, such as principals, assistant principals. And I know each job description states what a person should be doing, but if we're gonna have an employee handbook that dictates the duties and responsibilities of teachers, shouldn't it include the duties and responsibilities of administrators?
What's some of the neighborhood handbook?
Typically, the duties and responsibilities are detailed in a job description as opposed to being outlined in the handbook. That's typically how it's done.
And in the handbook, it just referenced that you can't get the specific duties in the job description.
Yes.
So my next question falls under FMLA. In this, it requires that you give 30 days unless it's not available. And my only issue with that is my understanding that sometimes when people present the FMLA, they bring it to they supervisor when they know about it. So to say 30 days notice, sometimes you don't have a 30-day notice. And I see the wording, if at all possible. But it deters people from, say if they need surgery, of doing their surgery based on that type of policy because of the feedback that they receive.
Just having worked with the district on FMLA, I don't think there's ever been a situation where the district denied someone who was entitled to FMLA just because they did not provide that documentation 30 days in advance, because everyone won't be able to, which is why it has that qualifying language that says, if at all possible.
That's all I know.
If there are no additional questions, we'll be asking the board for approval of the 2023-2024 Transportation Handbook, first viewing and waive second. Questions, concerns?
I have questions.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes, sir.
With the transportation handbook, we have, or what I think it should be added, that's not necessarily in here, is added guests on the bus. We have a chaperone policy in which allow a principal or a coach or organization to have other people on the buses. But it needs to be in the policy and in the handbook who are allowed to be on the buses, as in extra people without proper documentation.
To my understanding, what you're asking for is something listed in the transportation handbook that states specifically that no one can ride a school bus unless they have the proper chaperone paperwork filled out prior to.
prior to,
That's easy to add to, that'd be something we can take care of. Ms. Kim, would you make a note so I can make sure that I get that fixed immediately? Yes, ma'am, that's doable.
Thank you, Mr. Biggs.
and one more, it's in here, but was not stated is when they have an accident, when will the parents be contacted?
The handbook states that they're to immediately notify the school of origin,
Right.
and that school principal will notify the parents that an accident occurred on the route, and our athletic director, depending on who was supervising it. I can't control the school principals, but we do make sure that transportation does notify those schools immediately when something occurs.
But I think the wording I'm looking for is because a kid might not necessarily tell the bus driver or the bus monitor that they're hurt if an accident happens. So if they are in an accident and whoever's on the bus feel that the kids are fine to move forward, I think that the parents should be made aware at the time of the, I understand what the wording say. The wording say the principal's gonna contact the parent, but before they move forward, because
We have to provide a list to the authorities that are called when an accident occurs of every child that's on the school bus. That's a record for the school district. If a parent does find out a child was injured, bruised, or otherwise, that's a part of the claim that we file to make sure those kids are still covered. Even if the report is done after the fact, we have to make sure that every child on that bus is part of that report that we actually file. And that's to make sure that somebody cannot get left out or left behind if something actually occurred.
okay.
I don't have a question, it's just a concern on page 7,
Yes, ma'am.
number 6, element A, it should be turn signals. It's just a typo, it just says TUM.
Okay, yes, ma'am. That handbook hadn't been revised till I took it over.
Okay.
3 years ago was the first major revision to it, so yes, ma'am, I probably have 1 or 2 more in there too.
If there are no further questions or comments, we'll be asking the board for approval of business and technology complex club activity fees for school year 2023-2024. Questions, concerns?
Yes.
Mr. Biggs.
Who there?
That's me. If any questions, yes, sir.
I was looking at the fees. Are these fees that you're at, that are listed, are you asking that the district to take care of the fees, or what would they be?
For the last 5 years, the district has actually assumed those fees for the students. We haven't charged kids to actually join those clubs. We've been blessed to be able to afford those for the children that actually participate in those organizations. But we always include a fee list because depending on school district budgets and other funds, depending on what trips that we're currently having, competitions that are coming up, there may be a point where we do have to ask for additional funds to be able to send students to those activities. That's why that list is included every year.
Okay, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. I do know, are these their initial fees of becoming a member of the group, or is
Yes.
this their annual fee?
They're the joining annual fees. In most cases, when the kids come to our building, they haven't been a part of these clubs before. They're only one time. If a child joins the class or the club during year 1, there is no fee for year 2.
Okay.
They're the initial fees to join the club, and they're the only fees that are required to participate in like DECA, FCCLA, TSA, the different student organizations. And for the last few years, we have been blessed to be able to cover those for our students.
Okay, my next concern is that this will apply for any students who are designed to be a part of the club.
Yes, it includes both CT students and even academic students that have not or participated the year prior and are no longer enrolled. They can still, if they were a member of that club the year before, they can continue to do so. They can still be a part of that.
Okay.
Just for both career and academic students, both.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that
Yes.
all students have the opportunity.
Federal law says that all students will always have the opportunity in career and tech to be a part of all the stuff that we offer.
We'll be asking the board for approval to create a renaming of building committee panel.
Be clarity on that.
So,
Well, that's the committee that you requested
Okay, I just-
for at the retreat that, our speaker at the retreat recommended that before we do anything, that we create a committee of the community members, parents, business people that want to participate. We just have to approve how many and a timeline in which they will make a recommendation to the board whether or not that's in the best interest of the community. What, that's how you,
So did we decide how would it be selected?
no, first we gonna, that's why I
We're gonna
said.
vote on it?
Right,
Okay.
if there are no additional questions, we'll be asking the board for approval to accept bid fuel. Questions, concerns? We'll be asking the board for approval to accept bid Macomb High School building envelope. Questions, concerns?
And that's exactly it. Well,
Yes. We'll be asking the board for approval of curriculum changes. Questions, concerns?
okay. Are these, I know Mr. Biggs requested that his is a different program. Are these new courses that we're asking for, or are these?
These are new courses that will be offered at Denman that are currently not offered.
So we've never had JMG in?
No. JMG at the high school.
Okay, and when we do this, then how are we going to, are we using, how are we going to accommodate staff? Are we having to hire staff for these, or do we have staff that have
Staff is
additional
already-
certification?
Yep. Everything is in place for these courses to be offered and taught by qualified people. Qualified personnel.
That brings up a question that I have. When we talk about qualified people, are they required, because they're teaching in our public schools, are they required to use the outlines that the Department of Education puts out there for journalism, print journalism, or foundations in journalism,
These,
dance and perhaps?
these course codes are course codes from the Mississippi Department of Education. So the people who will be teaching these courses will be certified employees for the Macomb School District. So these are employees of the Macomb School District who are certified.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The health is not a credit.
At the junior high school, they don't get a credit for health.
So if you say students that know that they're not going to get credit, they would not.
Well, there are several courses at the junior high school that they don't receive credit for. But these credit-bearing courses that they're receiving credit for, these courses will go toward their credits that they can earn from high school.
Yes. That's why I asked, because health is actually a class on a high school level.
So will they have to take help when they get to ninth grade?
If they don't have a credit and they want a credit, yes.
So they're going to have to take it over.
There will be another version of health that will not be junior high
So,
school.
you know, they're going to look at it, they taking it over. That's what some parents will look at. There's no sense that if we get rolling, you don't have to take it over when you get to high school.
Right.
It's the first thing they're going to say.
But I think the premise behind this at the junior high is to make sure they have enough for them to do. Is that correct, Dr. Wilson?
Just additional electives. If there aren't any additional questions, we'll be asking the board for approval of out-of-district transfers, questions, concerns. Okay. We'll be asking the board for approval of personnel recommendations. Any questions, concerns?
Any more questions? We adjourn this meeting. Thank you.